just about to start on the longest segment of the Kelsey Trail that has remained undisturbed. This little first section right here was disturbed when the city insisted on putting in a sewer line, and it's been a little bit upset. But you're going to pretty quickly go into the longest segment. This is land that is owned by the Highlands-Cashiers Land Trust through the generosity of the Edwards family who lived right here. They wanted to protect this valuable resource. This trail is about to get some, well, it already has gotten a new easement to loop it into the Greenway Trail, and I'll try to spot that place where that connection's going to be made. This is what Kelsey had in mind when he wanted to get people interested in the mountains. This was one heck of an investment for the town of Highlands, the Kelsey Trail. And you will see today how Mr. Kelsey's dream of bringing people to the mountains has maybe been overdone. This is a magnificent forest. This is not primeval forest. This forest has been harvested. This is secondary growth. Some of these trees have been here 60 to 70 years, but this is secondary growth. It's a good stand of secondary growth, but the combination of rhododendron, dog hobble, evergreen plants that never shed their leaves, it has a quieting effect. These mosses all up through the woods and on the rocks just add an element of elegance to this forest that's hard to match. I think this tree is about 1,000 years old. Now, this is the largest tree you're going to see all day today. And I can't pass this baby without, I'm a real tree man.
Showing you my t-shirt.
Dirt loving tree hugger. Think about this. Now, this trail was built for buggies and wagons and horses and pedestrians. Some of the places you've already come through would be tight for a wagon to come through. You know, maybe a buggy could get through there okay, but it would be really tight. Of course, the trail hasn't been maintained to the width that it was back then, but this little section we're going to take right through here is a shortcut to avoid a long loop. You know, horses can't get traction if the slope is steeper than about 15 degrees. This part of this trail was built earlier. You know, Kelsey started, he had the idea of the Kelsey Trail in 1882 and started construction in 1882. Construction was completed in 1883. But this part that we've walked so far was built in 1875. It was a part of the first road to Highlands, North Carolina. And I will show you where the two diverge. The first road to Highlands came up from Whiteside Cove Road. And it came through Whiteside Cove and it followed Norton Mill Creek, which is a major tributary to the Chattooga River.
Camp Simpkins took me and some other crazy people.
Yes. You what? It's great. Nice and fresh. Very cold though.
Yeah, there's not many places where you can really get a prospect like this. Yeah.
So they're standing in the Kelsey Trail, and it goes that way. We're on private property. We just stepped off of the land trust property, but the old trail turned and went this way. We're going to have to go out and walk down asphalt, which pains me greatly to walk on asphalt. It then goes through the backyards of 6 houses in Highlands Falls, and you can still see it very completely. You know that was the Kelsey Trail. That was the first road to Highlands, North Carolina before it became known as the Kelsey Trail. Major portions of the old Kelsey Trail are underneath paved streets in country clubs. Major portions of it. But you can see, I'm going to point out to you today, every place that it cuts in and cuts off of the asphalt. So you can, and we're going to walk some major sections of it. This some of the trail that's undisturbed inside Highlands Falls. So, you know, thank goodness for that.
I've always assumed that was the old Kelsey Trail because when I moved up here,
That's
those
what
two
this
houses.
is actually trail here.
The trail from where I told you it went right around there, and it comes right down underneath the deck of that house over there, and several more that you cannot see. In that trail for years. But I had to have 100% permission, and I did not get it, so that trail does not exist. But the other 2 paths we.
What was it, Glenda?
Sounded like a frog, but I think it was affiliated with it.
Yeah,
Like, sounding like that?
Ah, I see. Alright. Well, no, then you've got the golf balls on your person, you know.
Well, then I'll tell you why. Well, they tried to take my golf ball.
I know that it came out right over yonder on Falls Drive West, the street that we crossed as we were arriving at the lake. How it came down through there are a series of duplex units up there on that hillside, and bulldozers made pads for those duplexes all over the places. So it wound down through there somehow, and of course the bulldozers making the golf course obliterated the trail too. And you know, the golfers had to have a place to play. So, you know, we historians and hikers fell by the wayside. But it came right through this general area, and it came right through here where we're going. And I'll reconnect you to where I know the trail went. But all of this is certainly very vague at best. When we got to a place that I knew where the trail went, it went right up this hill, most of it covered by asphalt. You've just crossed over Salt Rock Branch, just this side of the swimming tennis center back there where we made a pit stop. This is the east fork of Salt Rock Branch. Everything we've walked on so far was built in the year 1875. Right here is where it forks, the old trail. The trail built in 1875 goes right that way. It runs, this is the beginning of Wildcat Gap. If you look at a USGS topographic map of this area, you will see Wildcat Gap right down through there. High Mountain, Wildcat Ridge, and Whiteside Mountain over here, Black Rock Mountain over here. This is the lowest point to approach the Highlands Plateau. They had to get, Kelsey and Hutchinson had to get ox carts through Wildcat Gap because they knew it was the lowest part to the approach to the Highlands Plateau. So they built this road from Whiteside Cove Road right through Wildcat Gap. Some people have even got their garages built over this historic trail. Jim and Elaine. But you can follow this trail just beyond these blackberry briars. You can follow it all the way down. It's one of our walking paths in Howlands Falls. But right here is where Kelsey started building the new trail in the year 1882. And it switches, as most trails did in that era. It followed the ridges, especially if it was going to higher up. Follow the ridges. And it switched back and forth across the ridges. The easy part is over, you know, coming down that hill over there. Now it's going to be a little sweat time.
Here we're the 25th North Carolina Infantry, and we're just trying to avoid this old war if we can. So we just wanted to be sure you folks aren't part of that old raiding party, because we don't much take to getting hanged and whipped and beat up and treated kind of mean, if you know what I mean. So
I heard they shot a fellow over at Cold Mountain.
is that a fact?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now there's some of us that just don't like this old war, and sometimes when they catch up to us when we desert, they take pretty harsh means on us.
Yeah.
What we did is we kind of found a little place up here where we can hide out. We got a little cave up here where we can hide, but we don't want y'all telling anybody about it because we sure don't want anybody to discover us up here in the mountain.
Which side were you deserting from?
Which side? Well, that's a good question. You know, I got a brother here that's fighting with the Union forces up north, and here I am with the North Carolina Confederate infantry. So we've been just trying to avoid it as best we can, just trying to hide out here and take it easy for a while.
There are lots of caves around here where people can do what you want to do.
Yes, ma'am, there are. We just hope that the old nasty Colonel Kirk don't find out where they are, because he's been looking for us. But we got a dandy little cave right down here at this bottom of this little walkway here. We've got a rope strung down there. If any of you are interested in going out, it's about a 3 to 5 minute walk down there. Nice little overhang you might want to take a look at. You're welcome to it. We just ask you don't tell anybody else about it. So if you'd like to stay.
What happens if the colonel comes with dogs?
If the colonel comes with dogs, I'm ready for his dogs.
Are you the only man?
Well, I've got a friend of mine down at the cave. He's watching out on the other side of the mountain, so in case anybody sneaks up on me that way, we'll be ready for him down there.
Why aren't you taking sides?
Well, we're just peaceable folks here, and all we want to do is just kind of do our farming and raise our families and just enjoy the good life that we have up here in the mountains. We don't want to be fighting somebody else for, I don't know, something or other about old states' rights and whatever. We're not into that. We just want to be left alone.
What kind of weapon is that?
Well, sir, this is a 1853 Enfield musket. It's a black powder weapon, and we have to use our caps to prime it. And we got our cartridges here that we roll ourselves. We get some black powder. We're able to get it from time to time.
What caliber is
It's a 58 caliber. Yes, sir. And then we got our black powder in these little paper cartridges. Now, everyone can't be in our unit, because if you don't have two opposing teeth to tear off that black powder, you're not much use to us, because if you can't load your weapon, you've got a real problem. But yes, sir, that's what it is, and they're pretty accurate, up to a couple hundred yards actually. Yes, sir.
How much ammo do you have?
I carry 64 rounds of cartridges with me when I'm in the field.
What do your musket balls look like?
Actually, they're what they call mini balls. It was invented by a fellow over in France. we don't use round balls anymore because they weren't very accurate. They look more like a football. And now we've got what we call rifling down in the barrel, so that bullet comes out spinning like a football.
It does more damage?
Unfortunately, it does more damage. Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to avoid. We don't like that.
It sounds like to me you just an old deserter that's not loyal to the real South, and that sort of raises the cockles of my heart.
Well, sir, I should understand that I'm loyal to my farm and to my family, and I sure want to stay kind of neutral if that's what it takes.
So you want those feds down here telling us what we got to do and can't do?
I don't want nobody telling me what I can do and can't do. I don't care what color what color his uniform is. You know what I'm saying? I don't personally.
This is the cave, sort of like a rock ledge.
Yep.
And you have a wall there and a little sniper's post. Like this would be a great place just to end down and shoot. And around here they could lie down and that happened. And you can see there's a hole right under this rock to stick. Might be used to stick their gun barrel right through.
Oh, excellent.
This little area, it's like a horseshoe shaped. It's easily crouched into. To aim down. And you can see a straight line of fire from all sides. And it's more convenient that the cave should be up on a hill because that would make whatever side's coming to get them have to come up to them instead of them coming down, because that would make it easier.
My name is Samuel Kelsey. When I founded the town of Highlands in 1875, there was no road or trail to Whiteside Mountain. Indeed, folks, there was no US 64 from Highlands to the Cashiers Valley. In the late 1860s, a wagon road was cut through Whiteside Cove, down through the Cashiers Valley, meandered up over the Norton Mill Creek, through the southern shoulder of Wildcat Cliffs, over Wildcat Gap, into what is today Highlands Falls Country Club, which is where you're standing today. It followed the same route as the famous botanist Andre Michaud, who came in 1787 in his first excursion into North Carolina. About 6 years after the founding of the town, I decided to create a fork in that wagon road to get to the Bowery, which I called Whiteside Cove. Still, there was no road to Whiteside Mountain. In 1881, I started working on the project in earnest, but I'll tell you, just 2 years into it, I ran into great controversy with some of the local people. One such resident who was adamantly opposed said, "There's no earthly value to the town. It starts nowhere and ends in nothing." Well, you would think I was dissuaded. No. I knew of the value of the trail, so undeterred, I continued to raise support, both financial and labor, from people in and out of Highlands. By the end of July, we had completed the road to within a quarter of a mile of the top of Whiteside Mountain. They then named it the Kelsey Trail. Perhaps, because of the 500 labor days it took between 1881 and 85 to build that trail, I myself devoted 300 days. The first wagon to travel the trail made its journey in July of 1883. And that's the story of the trail. Please enjoy the beautiful falls, the trees and the forest that I have loved so much in my life.
Not where you come from.
Up on that hillside. There's some over there with purple flowers.
Yeah.
sandstone, a lot of it here. You have quartz.
Well, vegetation off. Yeah. Do you think those lots won't be built on because of slide and possibility because it's
This is not garnet rock.
at the entrance?
Nice
Yeah,
patch of them.
really nice pattern. The sun, kind of mottled sun up there.
Go all the way around.
Can I try?
You gotta keep moving. Well, let's try. Up on Whiteside.
He's doing this. Eli, you're hilarious. What?
I'm envious as all get out.
I was walking.
Lucky guy.
I just went up to get the mountain.
Little Terrapin where the Chattooga Club is located. And then you've got Big Terrapin that looks like a terrapin shell with a head sticking out to the left. And then you've got Black Rock right here.
Right here?
Yes,
This here? That's
Black Rock with that ball space on the side of it.
That's what you're saying y'all look at. Okay. Horse Cove's on the other side of Black Rock. Yeah. Down the valley.
Yes, Horse Cove, that way, over the ridge. Can't see it from here. Black Rock is almost entirely national forest. Terrapin is entirely national forest. Little Terrapin is entirely private. Where you see the houses leading down from Whiteside there is Hollyberry Estate. You see 2 or maybe 3 houses in Hollyberry Estate.
Little Terrapin is
Joined us, huh?
I wanted to see from up here.
Okay. She's over by there, yeah. But her children, it's making us all nervous. We've tried, the land trust has tried to get a conservation easement on that property and so far has not been able to do so.
that red roof over there on Little Terrapin with the binoculars.
There's a pretty bad glare, but I
Yeah,
think it
it's
is
real smoke.
reddish. Yeah.
Wait, garnets are red, right?
Yes.
But it's not gonna be a really great red.
But it's going to come out.
Rusty dull red, yeah, that's it. As in Burgundy wine, which you may not know about. Little man could sell a lot of ice cream if you worked hard.
Found a baby crawdad.
Hey, good job.
Crawdad. Let me show you his pinchers.
Don't get close on the building.
Okay. I think you got some mica in that chip.
I thought not.
Try again. I think you'll find garnet.
I'm saying
You know what? Why don't you take a rock, put it in the backpack, and you can smash it when you get home.
You got 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm coming.
Highland Hiker, for the adventure within. Whether your idea of adventure is climbing mountains or dining out, Highland Hiker will send you off in style. We've been outfitting hikers, fishermen, and travelers for over 25 years. We love fly fishing and offer clinics, guide services, and trips around the world. Our stylish clothes can take you from the day's activities straight into the evening hours. Highland Hiker, where the Highland style meets the great outdoors.
The Car Spa of Highlands has introduced a convenient wash card. Prepay and save 10% on every wash, and get a free wash on your birthday. Visit our website for more details. The Car Spa, keeping Highlands cars looking their best. Discover a hidden gem just off Main Street, Highlands Village Square, located behind Wolfgang's Restaurant. Come join us for guild meetings at Needle Point of Highlands. Whether you're an expert or a beginner, it's more fun to stitch together. All Season Salon is more than a full-service hair salon. Our friendly small-town atmosphere and personal touch will make you feel right at home. Come visit us in Highlands Village Square.
The Chambers Agency is the oldest realtor in Highlands. Come see the Chambers family for real estate sales and fabulous vacation rentals.
The Highlands Gem Shop, dedicated to making your shopping experience as special as your purchase.
What do you got there?
I got a mudbender.
A salamander?
Yeah, mudbender, salamander. Whoa, feisty little guy, I can tell you that.
Hey, Rod.
I found an X.
Home stretch.
Woo!
You ready for him?
Who starts to be? Who starts to be first bad charges?
We're supposed to go up.
My name is Margaretta Ravenel. My husband and I built the first summer home in Highlands within 5 years or so of the time that Mr. Kelsey and Mr. Hutchinson came to Highlands. We not only built our home here, which I understand you now call Playmore, we frankly invested in a lot of land. There was a company that was buying up land at that time, the Macon County Land Company or something of the sort. And I frankly didn't trust their motives. I think they would have stripped off every tree on all of these acres. So they would buy land at that time of, if you remember the period in history that we're talking about, it was shortly after the Civil War. And people were poor. They were poor and they would sell land for literally cents, like 5 cents an acre, 7 cents an acre. So my husband Priolo and I could offer this land company, as they called it, a profit, and they would take it. And so by the end of Prioleau's life, the two of us and our son, Prioleau Jr., had title to over 30,000 acres of land between Highlands and Cashiers. I like to think that perhaps I was the first person who did anything about conserving land in this area, and I'll tell you how I did that. My sister and I donated the funds to build the First Presbyterian Church of Highlands, and as it was being built, people were building stores and hotels and livery stables up and down Main Street, and it occurred to me that somebody might get the bright idea of building something jam up beside the Presbyterian Church. There was a vacant lot there, so I went ahead and bought it. And I donated that lot to the church with the restriction that it never be built upon. Now that is the lot immediately to the west of the First Presbyterian Church. And I think that had the effect, the same effect as what you people now regard as conservation easements. The church had the use of the property, but they can't build on it, nor can they sell it to anybody else who is going to build on it. So that is protected. Well, Prioleau and I had 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, and all of us became interested in making this area accessible for the enjoyment of people in general. There was an organization that got started called the Highlands Improvement Society, and that society it went along for several years just talking mostly about protecting property and land. And in 1909, when my daughter Marguerite Ravenel was president of it, rumors started flying, some to the effect that a hotel was going to be built on the top of Satula Mountain. Another rumor was that somebody was going to put a toll road to the top of Satula Mountain. Well, this just could not be allowed. God gave us all these summits. So the Improvement Society had a subscription campaign, and of course, since my little girl was president of the organization, I had to see that it succeeded. So I gave $50 of the $500 that was needed to buy the top of Satula, 32 acres on the top and 28 down below, 60 acres. We paid $500 for it, but it was to be preserved for all time to come for everybody. Now that, of course, was just the beginning, and this preservation of land in this area, the natural beauty of the land has gone on now from that date, 1909, to this date, 2009.
It's the one that started selling off the land during the early years of World War II, like 1942. She was approached by Powell Brothers Lumber Company that is still in operation over in the
Also donated Sunset Rocks Geological Station, where the lake is. That's why it was Ravenel Lake.
Ms. Ravenel, you were talking about Satula, and you might want to point out to the people that it's the big mountain behind us that has the tall thing that looks like a tree on it. They didn't have those in your day, but that's some kind of a communication thing of some sort.
Absolutely. Excuse me.
It's on the top of the cake.
I saw a lot of nature, and I got to meet some new people. And what was really fun was visiting these caves. But I was looking forward to seeing Garnet Rock, but I was disappointed. It was probably one of the greatest disappointments of the trip because, I mean, there wasn't one garnet you could see. It was just rock. No garnets at all. What did you like most about this hike?
Oh, I just loved the opportunity to see where the old trail went. This is the trail that that Highlands was founded on, pretty much, and it's been pretty much closed off to most people because there are all kinds of, private property and gated communities all along the trail, and this was an opportunity to see where the old trail actually went and what it looks like now.
What were the parts that you liked the most?
Oh boy, let me think about that. That's hard to say. Because I just enjoyed, well, of course, seeing Highlands Falls, which used to be a destination hike, a picnic destination for all Highlanders, for years and years. And I've only seen it once before in my life, and that was just before the Highlands Falls Country Club was built. And so it was really nice to catch a glimpse of Highlands Falls again, and it's something you just can't do every day. The plants were wonderful. There were just lots of, what really amazed me was, it's not something that's really rare, but the bluets at the Calisaja Club along the road were just the most beautiful I've ever seen. And the local people, their name for bluets is spilt milk. And I could never understand why they called them that until I saw them splashed on the ground, and it did look like somebody had spilled some milk on the ground. And so the bluets were beautiful. There were lots of trilliums blooming, and of course the spring is just so beautiful. The little leaves coming out on the trees, and it's just a beautiful day for a hike.
What did you think about the hike?
Oh, the hike was great fun. It was a perfect day for a hike across the plateau.
What did you think about the scenery?
I loved it. This is a perfect time of year to see the wildflowers and birds. It was really nice.
We visited 2 caves. Which one did you like the best?
I liked the first one. There was a nice deep cave, and it seemed like there was an interesting history of use, of people camping out there.
Were you kind of disappointed when you went to Garnet Rock and you didn't find any garnets?
Well, yeah, I wanted a little bit more time. I wish we had more time so I could have searched for garnets in the sand at the base of the rock. So yeah, I was a little disappointed. I wish we could have found some. There's probably some in there if we could have spent some time digging.
I asked Miss Bug about the garnets, and she said there haven't been any in there for a long time. What's your opinion on this?
Well, she sounds like she has experience with that. Maybe people have collected them all. And there's just not really very many to be found anymore.
What was your favorite part of the hike?
Favorite part was probably the whole hike. I think not many people have taken the Kelsey Trail because it's been shut off to the public, and there are just so many beautiful sights along the way that we were amazed that as many as 60 people made it without too much difficulty. There were some hills that were pretty steep, but otherwise it's a historic trip, and they seem to enjoy it very much. There are a lot of interesting sights along the way. Garnet Rock, which people used to sit on and pick garnets from the top in the cave underneath, and they would go and find what they called porcupine eggs, which were actually chestnuts with the burrs on the outside that looked like little porcupine eggs. And there were the Highlands Falls. Seeing it from the top is a beautiful view that not many people see. They might see it from the 16th hole from below, but this was where most people who went on the Kelsey Trail saw it from the top.
We saw 2 caves. Which one was your favorite?
Well, the first one is what they call Soldier's Cave or Deserter's Cave, and that's probably where the soldiers hid. Under Garnet Rock is another cave, and that's where soldiers also hid, but it's more exposed than that first one. I think the first one is probably more authentic because if somebody hid there, it's unlikely that anybody would find them when they're trying to hide. Actually, I think the truth is that there were many caves in this area, and soldiers hid in many of them, and it's hard to say which cave particularly they might have hid in. There's one over near the Big View that soldiers were supposed to have hid in. There's one called Pickletimer Rock House over on Highway 28 where soldiers were supposed to have hid. There are also caves over on the Glades Road down in Horse Cove, which soldiers are supposed to have hid in. And this one up here is what most of the legend says along the Kelsey Trail, that there was a cave where soldiers, you might call them deserters, but in some cases there were people from both the North and the South who didn't like this uncivil war. And so they weren't so much deserters as just people who were opposed to war in general. And they would hide there, but rather than be conscripted for it.
Interesting. What did you think about where we ate lunch? Did you like that little area?
Well, I originally suggested that we hike the other direction, start up here at the parking lot and go downhill all the way to town rather than come up those 3 big hills to here. But if you look at it from that point of view, you would have had your picnic down at Kelsey Hutchinson Park, and I think it's much more beautiful up here on Leela's Rock to have a picnic there with a view of the back of Black Rock.
Yes, very interesting. Did you get a chance to go and look off the edge of Leela's Rock?
We used to picnic on Leela's Rock a long time ago, and so it's kind of returning to something that we used to do. Now it's within private property, so although it belongs to the land trust, it's hard to get to, not as easy as it used to be, but I've always loved sitting there. I don't go near the edge.